The Second World War, a horrible part of human history that involved most of the world countries. Millions of people perished, were injured, or lost the members of their families. Now, decades later after the end of the war, it is of vital importance that the heroes of these events, as well as the price of their victory, are not forgotten. The war consisted of not only of the direct fights on the battlefields, but also of the competitions between human minds. In this video, I will present a logic puzzle that was published during World War II in a Soviet journal and was related to an ongoing war. Now let's take a look on the problem. Here you can see the whole description, which short summary is given on the thumbnail. A man came to a partisan unit. He said he was a farmer and had escaped from the enemy. He was dressed in rusty clothes and spoke good Russian. The partisans allowed him to stay, but quietly watched him. When the supper was being prepared, it was discovered that this person was in fact a foreign spy. And this revealing moment is captured in the drawing. So now you can stop the video and think about it yourself and try to detect this spy. How do you approach this puzzle? Let's consider what is provided to us. We know that the drawing captured some actions that reveal the spy. Therefore, we should carefully analyze the actions of the people depicted in the illustration and try to spot some unusual behavior. Let's start with the left part. This person is bringing firewood. These two people chatting with each other. From what we can distinguish from this guy, he's preparing some food, and that one is adjusting the rifle. Well, potentially, we could have analyzed some details of the rifle adjustment and tried to spot some abnormalities there. But remember, the spy was most likely trained to operate with the Soviet weapons, and also, picture doesn't provide the details of the adjustment. So therefore, we can conclude that all of these people behave kind of normally. Now let's take a look on the group of the people at the right side. This guy is pouring the water into the bucket. That one is heating the stove. This person is chopping firewoods, and finally this guy is pouring water into the pot. Looks like we have not spotted any abnormalities here as well, have we? There is no spy, no clues?
Clues, no strategies, no options, zero, zip, nada. No trust, liar.
Well, as a matter of fact, there were some subtle abnormalities that only people that are familiar with some elements of Eastern culture can spot. Take a closer look on this guy. Originally, I said that he was pouring the water into the pot. In fact, this would have been true if this jar hadn't been indeed just a teapot. In fact, this is so-called Samovar, which was widely used in Eastern countries, including former Soviet countries, for boiling the water. And in order to understand what was abnormal in this feature behavior, let's take a closer look on the main idea of a samovar functioning. Here, you can see the side view of a samovar without the cap. The main principle is the following. In a samovar, you have a firebox that is surrounded by an empty space. As you might have already guessed, the fuel, firewood for instance, is put in the firebox from the top, and the empty space around it is filled with the water. Therefore, the heat from the firebox is transmitted through the inner walls to the water. When the water comes to a boiling point, the burning wood that produces the smoke is removed from the firebox and smokeless charcoal is poured in to maintain the temperature. Thus, you can leave samovar on the table during the meal. Now you can see that this person was not aware of the working principle of a samovar and probably assumed that this hole on the top is for water, but in fact, it was for fuel and for the air traction. Since back in that time samovars were the main water boilers, especially in the countryside, this behavior was absolutely unusual and therefore exposed the spy.
You lying ass bitch.
Even though considered to be originally from Russia, the predecessors of samovars might have come from the Eastern countries. Specifically, the similar designs were attributed to the boiling pots from Azerbaijan, China, and Japan. In a modern form, samovars were spread through the Russian culture to mostly Eastern countries such as Turkey, Iran, India, and Afghanistan, but also to Europe. Samovars were not only viewed as water boilers, but did play important cultural and historical roles, and were featured in the drawing described in the romances and used as gifts. Nowadays, when mostly electrical pots are used, classical samovars are considered more as a historical heritage. Did you find this puzzle and a short cultural tour interesting? Feel free to share some parts of your culture in the comments. I'm sure, despite the widespread of the information, there are still some pieces of the cultures that are not widely known.
Haven't you noticed? We've been sharing our culture with you all morning.
As usual, every comment will receive a response. Also, if you like the video, please give it a thumb up, subscribe to the channel, allowing all notifications. In this manner, you will not miss the updates from the other sections, such as neuroscience research and mathematical puzzles. If you have any ideas related to the content of the channel, please share them in the comments as well. And I hope to see you soon.